It's been 2 years since 29-year-old Harley Morris disappeared. He was last seen leaving a nightclub in Tyler. His family tells KLTV7's Alex Weister they will never stop searching.
It's the same. I don't see the world the same.
2 years and no answers for the family of Harley Morris, who say the pain of his disappearance is still as difficult as the first day he went missing.
Every day you wake up, the nightmare starts over. The realization sets in that it's been 2 years.
Last seen leaving the 50 Grand Club in Tyler at 3 a.m. on January 21st, 2024 alone. No belongings of Harley have been found from the night he disappeared.
Much more hope in the beginning that just through sheer determination I would find my son.
Since his disappearance, multiple searches have been conducted by officials and community members. A billboard was also erected on Loop 323 and Troop Highway last year.
It never stops. This is the rhythm of my life now. I mean, every corner is marked with tragedy. I see his poster everywhere. Everywhere I go, people, even though they're reaching out with love, bring it up, so it's inescapable.
Tyler police says that tips are still coming forward, but none have panned out yet.
It is a pretty steady stream of tips coming in. Unfortunately, all of them have been vetted at this point and none of them have panned out, but we still want them. We still hope to get them.
And his mother, Wendi Attaway Morris, is still holding on to her final memory of Harley to keep her going, along with the hope that one of the tips will lead to a breakthrough.
Just grappling with the not knowing if he's out there needing me to find him, knowing that I'll never stop looking.
Alex Weister, KLTV7 News.
A $10,000 reward is being offered for information that leads to Harley Morris. Tyler PD says tips can be sent in anonymous.